then I would have to work with the women's basketball team after their basketball coach made them do walking lunges for 4 laps around the so a mile on the track, and then they'd
Oh
come
my.
in and have to do heavy singles later that day on power cleans. And I wondered why I was such a shitty Olympic weightlifting coach because I couldn't get them to do really good power cleans.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the West Coast Performance YouTube channel. In this video, we just wanted to take a chance to talk about health and performance. We used a pyramid to draw out how we use the continuum to not only maximize health, but to move people towards peak performance while reducing the risk of injury. So if you guys like this video, you want to more videos like this on tips and discussions about baseball topics, make sure to hit the like, subscribe button, drop your comments below if you have any questions. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great day, and thanks again for watching. Couldn't get
Uh,
triple extension.
that was a huge tangent, but anyways,
Back to the pyramid.
yeah, because I wrestle with this internally. Like I feel like I'm always asking some of my kids, was that a hard enough workout? That doesn't matter. I shouldn't have to ask that.
Yeah, it's hard because that's what they want half the time.
And like, this is the conversation I like having with Kay a lot because Kay is such a contrarian to my initial thought process on programming and program design and training. He is so contrarian to it that one, it threw me for a loop when we started out as business partners, and it was so contrarian. Like he's like he'd look me now and be like, yeah, I think honestly this guy should probably do the same exact workout every single time he comes in the gym.
See,
And like
that's like
and
so opposite of what you're
and we
taught.
had
I love
guys
it.
doing and we had guys doing that. I remember having a programming talk back at Results with TK when he was one of the employees with me there of like, why don't we back squat twice? Why are you doing like a back squat and a front squat? And I go through this elaborate thing of like, whoa, we're hitting the posterior chain more here and the anterior chain more here, and
Got to
generalist like
balance your pushes and pulls.
yeah, I actually probably said that. And like from a generalist mindset, like that's not incorrect, but it's not specific to that athlete enough.
It's
I
not
mean, we
wrong, yeah.
we were just changing those extra. So like we were changing those exercises based on a little bit on range of motion, but it was more just on the eye test. Like if someone sucked at a front squat, we found something different that they looked good doing and were comfortable with. I didn't really like to, and it wasn't like muscle confusion or any other bullshit. It was more like one, expose someone to different movements. I think I was at a point in my career where it was probably safer for me to really be a generalist. And maybe for most strength and conditioning coaches, maybe it is safer to be a generalist.
Right?
You know, maybe we get a little too specific even now. Who knows? That's why I just got to
Maybe.
keep.
I honestly ask myself that a lot.
And so so bringing that segue of the roundabout back to this little terribly drawn pyramid here is this is kind of the way I'm starting to explain it to parents, and also kind of this is really is periodization if you think about it in another sense. The kid that came in, he's pain free. He's got a bunch of red flag. He has like no IR. He's a left-hand pitcher, left shoulder, none, zero. But he's pain free, plays golf a bunch, left-handed pitcher, does not throw hard at all. Like 77, 78, junior. And he's 6'6". He's gonna be a fun one.
Tall,
But
narrow.
yeah, so yeah. Where do we start on this, right? He had like growth plate. I mean, who doesn't have probably growth plate issues if you get to 6'6" and you're in high school? So he had like growth plate issues in middle school, feels fine throwing, gets stuck in pronation. So he's like change up sinker type of guy, like no IR. He's coming here, but he's a junior. So that also takes in. So then I like where they're at in their career. What do they want to do? All that can play in this. And now I guess we should have probably explained the pyramid first. But the sports performance, in my opinion, is trying to get to this top of this pyramid and not go too far over there if you can avoid it, depending on the situation. Because performance in reality, and this goes back to our talk last time, in my opinion, on the arm injuries pandemic, as it's been said. That's a quote. Because we've gotten so into the performance side, we've just forgot about the health side. And there's so many variables that we don't need to get into. I like using this with clients because we can kind of figure out where we want to start. Like you're a guy with has had a partially torn UCL, still has arm pain, has knee pain, trying to do upper body exercises. You're going to want to hang out more on the health side, right? So maybe you start him like down here. Doesn't matter if the kid throws 96, he's never going to be healthy. So this is like a nice little spectrum, and like the end goal really for most people is going to be right at the top, right? And we always kind of say it, and I think let's call it discipline within strength and conditioning. Everyone's going to want to get to that point no matter how you want to start, or that should be your goal. You're
Right?
maximizing performance and maximizing health. Then you can have individual talks with individual clients. And let's say you have like a junior and high. I think our next talk honestly should be some of the nuances of this, because it's like super broad, right? This is like 1,000-foot view.
Yeah.
We're not having an athlete get more on this side doesn't mean we're gonna be like, yeah, don't do any of your shoulder care. We'll throw all the KPIs out the window. Like you're just gonna go train as hard as you freaking can. Like that's not what we mean by any means. But it's
It's
almost
a
like
continuum.
yeah, exactly. Let's say we do have a junior in high school and he wants to play in college and he has no looks because he's not throwing hard. We might need to start getting him down this way. At the same note, maybe you get him here and it's all good and you just kind of keep going a little bit because now we're like 83, 85. I don't know where, like we don't know where that's just going to be like, yeah, can't get to there, pain. You really don't know till you try, right? And some of like the old school, really good strength and conditioning coaches that I used to follow would always be like, we'd rather undertrain than overtrain. And that's kind of a little crude version of this, but similar concept, right? We got to figure out where that athlete needs to be on this continuum. Again, it's a continuum. So I've had guys that start here because they came to me with elbow pain and then they feel great. And now we're starting to get closer to here. And then, okay, now they're sophomore year in high school. We're here, did great, pitched in playoffs. Now it's time to kind of push the envelope a little bit, having that open conversation. Hey, we're going to try to push. We have all our KPIs. We have all our range of motion numbers that we're keeping track of. We're going to do our best to mitigate injury. But I mean, we're trying to do something that is stressing the human body.
Yeah,
And
it's
as
not
long as you,
about health if you're trying to throw 100 miles an hour,
there's
It's not
nothing
it's not
about,
healthy.
no,
Yeah. There's nothing safe about that. But I
100%.
think yeah, the way that I try and kind of view it the same perspective, I feel like, but just understanding that you have to prioritize one goal before where you're going with this kind of like
Yeah.
if you have pain, and this is something that I've dealt with a lot, I would say it was like the kid comes to you, they just had surgery or they've been in pain for a while, and they also are worried about throwing velocity. It's like, no, like we can't start there. You have to start with establishing like a baseline of health, which again, like probably starts with their sensory systems and making sure
Mhm.
that they can feel safe when they move, not feeling like moving is a dangerous activity, and then you progress from there. But I think a lot of times kids see it backwards, where they're like, all right, I'm gonna do my arm care and I'm gonna train for velocity. And it's like, no, that's not really the right steps to take, in my opinion.
Yeah, yes. If they're an injured athlete, for sure. Again, like it's all that's why shout out to Kay and Campo's Substack, context driven. Like I felt like I couldn't say context driven without giving them a shout out, even though yeah.
Right?
So
A lot of the
like
people listening to this probably don't even know who those guys are,
that's
but
and that's
they
okay,
should.
because but it's got to be context driven, and taking a kid that has a history of arm injuries longer than a CVS receipt and throwing them in the exact same workout group
Group
as
training model.
two kids that have been blessed with the most genetically gifted parents around that in this little town they're in, and having them do the same workout, you're ruining one of them. I don't know which one. You might be getting you might be getting the hurt kid healthy, but or you're going to ruin the gifty. We got to be better than that. And that's where I think the injury epidemic at the younger age is coming from. I would really like some insight from some high level people on, there's a lot of different input on the major league level, as there should be. I think it's just, unfortunately, parents, I mean, it sucks because it's probably parents putting their trust and faith into a practitioner that they believe is going to do right by their kid. And I'm not saying I've done right by every client that I've had. I probably jacked some people up.
Oh yeah,
We're not
100%. I
trying, we're
have.
not trying to say we're better than anybody else. It's just that if you aren't trying to get better in your craft and perfect your decision making. You're gonna get stuff wrong, but like be a better decision maker. Learn enough to do right by the kids.
right? Like it's okay to be wrong, but you have to learn from that and just
That's
don't make the same mistake over and over and not
yeah,
learning from it, you know?
yeah.
That's what I see a lot. It's like
That's a very
we
nice way for us to put that. We could have been a lot stronger worded than that.
yeah, I already went on some long rants last time. But
Yeah, I mean to be honest, that's when I get the most fired up is when I see people not doing right. And they got to know it.
do they though? Like sometimes I feel like people are just I don't know, man. Like sometimes
I think I agree with you. That's why I
what I
laughed. Like,
see is like we get into this autopilot where it's like, all right, I'm working with this athlete. Like here, I'm going to give him the volleyball program or the ACL prevention
yeah.
program.
To me, it always comes back to exactly. It always comes back to testing and questions.
Be willing to
Where
fail
where
and do it in a safe
where's
way.
the disconnect? If you ask the right questions and you test the right stuff,